And welcome to Daybreak, and welcome. It's another Tuesday, and on Tuesday we engage. They just say it's another Tuesday. It is another Tuesday, and as you can see, we have a brand new setup. You know, we're keeping things keep getting better and better here on Daybreak and on Engage. And we also have a brand new Anita Ray, who was very vocal last week on Twitter, and akasema sijui, I can't remember, but ulibishana na mtu hapo. But welcome, Anita.
Thank you so much.
Karibu sana.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Laughing?
No, because it's about to get late. CJ Atemo also joins us. Welly Odendo is most likely an Arsenal supporter, because they're the ones who've been arriving late too. But he's on the way. He'll probably catch up with us a little bit later on. Today we want to talk about something. Now, of course, if you do not live in a vacuum, you've been seeing what's been trending up to, I think, Saturday, tulifunga na Lisagaido. But there's a lot of things that have been trending in terms of relationship, and I just thought it would be interesting, a good opportunity for us to talk about, you know, the boy child, or boys to men is what we're calling it, in terms of that transition. What does it mean to be a man? And why is it that whenever we hear of exposés or scandals or etc., the way society turns on the lady, whether she's hurting, whether she's not, it really points to just the way I feel ladies are viewed by men, which is worrying. Yes, there is women empowerment and it's made gains, but I still feel at the heart of the matter, the way we treat our ladies is not right. But that's the view of Willis, not necessarily the view of Citizen. But we're going to unpack that. Let's begin with you, Anita Ray, because you know, you're very vocal and passionate about this topic. What do you think is ailing the boy child? It's very good for TV, but nini nasumbua naume? Nini
nasumbua naume? Let's put it down.
Yes.
First of all, I think it's the lack of identity. Who is a man? What is a man to you? What have you been taught a man is in society? What do we tell our boys being a man is like? If I'm going to tell my child today, be a man, what do I mean by be a man? We never explain what be a man is. But what we show, you know, what we tell them and do are two different things. You show your kids like being a man and having many women is being a man. You're the man. I mean, if you want to show your boys you're the man, what do?
Trophies.
You have girls, you have cars, we don't tell them, we don't instill values of being a man. We just showcase things. So you look at our society, they think if you have many girlfriends or if you're having many women in your life, if you're spending a lot of money, sadly we have raised our boys to think if you buy expensive drinks, you're the man. Because if your boy comes and you're watching a game and he buys a very expensive drink, who's the man?
The man with the money.
The man with the money.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. We don't know who a man is. We put a man down to materialistic things, not values, not responsibility, not character. We've put it down to things that you have instead of who you are. And that's the problem. So instead of someone becoming a person of their own, it's what they have. I am Anita, I am Willis, I have a car, I have a Benz, I have this, I am a man. But when it's all taken away, then who are you? Yeah.
So it boils down to the identity.
Yeah, they don't have an identity at all. At all.
And today I'll call you CJ. You also share almost the same view, because you know, I've had you speak about which is my favorite. I always say the boy lingered. Where in every man there's still a boy who is lingering somewhere.
Yes, you know, the identity thing, we derive our identity from our origin, the source, and where there has been, it's something that has been talked about so many times, like, so where are the fathers? But the fathers also did not have fathers. Where fathers have been present, they did not know how to interact with the boys, because who is going to tell the boy who he is? If he's going to hear that from his mother, sometimes she also doesn't really know what to say to this boy. It's easier when the child is about 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5. When he begins to grow into 11, 10, 11, he's beginning to form himself as a man. He's trying to cut out his own identity away from the mother. Then what does the mother say? You know, when a child is 3 years, the mother can kiss, peck, you know, do all of that. Then he's growing up, then he's conscious of his fellow young men around him. He doesn't even want you to hug him while he's going to school. He's beginning to craft his own identity, but then most times, then he doesn't have an image to conform to. He doesn't have another man to shape that image. So he's like this pot of, he's like clay that is being shaped into something, but there's no design. So he's very malleable, he's very impressionable, but there's nothing, he knows what he's coming from, but now he doesn't know what he's supposed to be. So what happens is that in most cases then, they begin to derive their idea of masculinity from their peers. It becomes what the other boys are saying. And boys with boys are very competitive and very comparative of each other. That's where the thing will come in of, you know, the man is the person who has this or has that or has that, because I'm trying to show Willis I'm better than you. I'm doing better than you. Have you noticed even that the discussions that you have about football, have you seen how men relate? Have you seen how men relate?
Yeah.
Like, we are Man U.
We are Man U.
We're always trying to prove to the other man we are better than them. So we don't have that self-identity. We don't have it because nobody shaped it. And so I'm trying to find myself in the midst of my peers, and I think that then me being me is when I feel that I am stronger than you. So I think that that element of not having image or models to conform to has really been a problem when it comes to identity of the man.
And so we have, you know, a society where, so we are measuring men by the, what do you call them? The measuring elements are those ones. More money, more girls, material.
Beautiful wife.
Yeah, beautiful wife. And it informs conversation. But then, if you look at the, let's take like it's the last 1 year, based on the activities online, what we've been seeing, movements, you know, fake it till you make it sort of situations that have been coming through, what happened last week with the gospel artists, all this, is it, can you trace it to that, you know, bad or lack of, you know, there's one thing to have a bad foundation, but there's another thing not to have a foundation at all. So can you trace it to that? What do you think, Anita?
Now you've hit home when you say the whole saga that has been. I think the last week was a roller coaster, from the gospel artist to Lisa Gaido to the fake it till you make it guy. And you see, when you look at all of them, they were trying to prove a point. I think we don't look beyond the situation they are in at the moment. We just look at that exact situation. But really, there's always a situation to a situation. It doesn't wake up one day and you have this kind of drama. That happened last year, October. It just came out now. It's been months of hiding and trying to cover it up. And you ask yourself, why would a young man put someone through that pain and cover it up, knowing he's a public figure? Why would a young man fake he's worked with even you and show face and still not hide? And after being caught, show face again and tell people, I lied, but I'm willing to work with you people. And
even in the middle of the response was that I lied, but hata msichana nilikuanga na yeye. So again, it goes to what I was saying, like.
So at the end of the day, when you come back to the foundation, let me ask the people who, the generation that raised us, our mothers, our parents, how did you raise us? Did you raise us to believe in ourselves, to believe we were good enough? Or did you raise us to lie all the time and cover up our lies and fake it till we make it? We grew up with parents who pretended they are okay. So we grew up wanting to also be okay. You know, really, there's nothing worse than the fact that we are trying to lie that we don't have a bunch of kids who are raised by single moms who are not there. So we have a bunch of kids that were raising themselves. Let's be very honest. It's the 20th generation, not even ours, the 20th, in our parents. You're trying to hustle. You don't have a husband. You're never there for your kids. Who's going to raise them? The same way he said, you're learning from your peers. What do we learn? We have our generation lacks foundation. There's not even a bad foundation. It lacks foundation. It all comes back to the fact that, Willis, if I dress up today, 90% of girls my age dress up today, they'll go to Instagram to ask, how do I look?
Outfit of the
They
day.
need validation
Hashtag.
from someone else.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with our artists, our girls, our boys. They need validation because they will never get it at home. I was making people laugh. I asked the other day, has your parent ever said they love you? Everybody said no. They show it how. And you always make those jokes on Twitter. Hey, mamangu akikuangalia na macho mbaya anakupenda, like, how is that? Like, has your mother ever said you dressed well today? They They don't. They will tell you when you've dressed badly, but not when you've dressed well. So where do you look for validation as a person? Where do you look for someone to tell you look good? You dress smartly. You go to social media. It's become normal today. If someone tells you look bad in a picture on the gram, what do? You
delete it.
You delete it and get a better one. How many pictures do you take before you get one for the gram? We are looking for validation from outside because you don't get it from inside. You come from a broken home with no foundation. You go into a broken relationship that will have no foundation at all. So still there, you will not get any validation. So your entire life is you're looking for validation from the outside because there's no validation from the inside. That's a problem. Yeah.
And by the way, if you have any questions or comments, we put up a tweet. You can go ahead and check it out there. The hashtag to use is Daybreak. We're asking, first of all, let's say, what is your definition of being a man? That's one. Two, do you think society's definition of manhood is warped? You can talk to us there. And if you have any experiences you want to share as well, our SMS line is open. It is 22422. That number again, 22422. And on Twitter, the hashtag is Daybreak. So let's get talking. Hashtag 22422 and hashtag Daybreak and SMS line 22422. Multitasking in Ngumu. I was trying to multitask and open the SMSs. But then, CJ. Sounds really good. So look at the situation we have even with single parenting.
Right.
We have single parents who, like Anita said, maybe people today were raised by single parents, then they are single parents themselves now. And there's that element of, and we've seen, the people who send SMSs here talk about how, this man left me, I had a baby for him. I remember you were very categorical in that. Yeah. So is that a problem in fact that we don't have fathers?
Well, it is. It's a problem because fathers are supposed to form their children and not just form but also inform them. So fathers are supposed to give their children an identity and an assignment in life. I met a young lady. She's a very gifted musician, and she told me she was not a good performer at school. She says that so clearly. She said she was not a very good performer at school. She was always scoring so badly. But she said what kept her going is her father kept on saying, no matter what you score in school, you're still my daughter. And that affirmation and that strength made this girl believe in herself. In fact, she's in a singing competition right now, but she's such an amazing singer. Tells you how much, how strong it is, for example, for a girl to hear the voice of a man affirming her. At the same time, men try to impress men. And most men live in the desire to impress their fathers, who are the first heroes that they would have. A father is a hero both to the boy child and to the girl child. That's a hero. When he is absent, the first thing that happens to this child is they feel they're unwanted. Because this is the person they were trying to impress the most. They want to hear their validation. They want to hear well done. They want to hear you're doing good. They want to hear you can make it. And then they're not seeing this person or they're not hearing it. That void is going to be, is going to drive them somewhere else. They're going to begin to look for that validation from some other place. It's like the photosynthetic plants. You know, you put it in a room like this, it begins to grow out towards the light. And that's what validation is. Validation is light. And if you don't get it in the house, you begin to look for it elsewhere. So the lack of fathers causes people, both men and women, growing up to begin to look for people on the outside who will validate them. Mostly, as I said, for the young men, they look for it in their peers. When it comes to the girls, then they begin to look for it in male voices. Any male voice that will bring in validation gets their attention. They draw and grow towards it. So if somebody says you look good, it captures their attention. If somebody says, you know, you're so beautiful or something, it begins to capture her attention because she's looking for this validation of a male voice. And she could be loved by the mother so well, but there is still that thing of finding a voice that resonates with the inner person that she is. So what social media has created is, it has also created a sense of confusion because there are too many voices that we are trying to respond to. And if you don't have a foundational voice that holds you, You will respond to everything. So today you will be this, tomorrow you are that, the next day you are this, and then we begin to break and crack.
I have a few SMSs here. They're different ones on this is 22422 or SMS platform. Somebody says, I'm sorry because I'm a son of a single mother and I like foundation. Somebody just opening up there. Then Dennis Mutemi, watching from Wingi, says the definition of a man means a man who is ready to redefine maturity in all he endeavors. Monica from Kasarani says, I think a man is defined by his submissiveness to responsibilities. I don't understand that one, but there it is up there. That is Monique kutoka Kasa. I think a man is defined by submissiveness to responsibility. That's on our SMS 22422. Winnie anasema hiyo ni rusungu. There's another one there. Sorry?
I think she's trying to say somebody who doesn't run from responsibility.
Okay, yes, I guess that's what she's trying to say. Then there's one says, the society's definition of a man is someone with money. Even if they lack character, society even allows men to be adulterous and have mpango wa kandos as long as they can provide. What does that do to marriages, and isn't that teaching our kids immorality? Is it true, Anita, that in your view that you know, your view and probably experience we've been around for a while in our space, different spaces, that element of money, like so long as uko na pesa, and I think it's even our politicians, so long as uko na pesa, you can do wrong and just keep walking.
It is quite sad that money is the definition of success in our society, and not only here, everywhere. If you have money, you're successful. Yeah. It does not matter how rotten you are. It does not matter if you're a liar. It does not matter if you have money. People always say that money is not happiness, and then they add, but poverty is not happiness either, you know. So you'd rather have the money. Take the latter. And women say, and women don't like, you know, most women say that I'm biased and that I defend men. I don't. I'm just very honest. Women keep saying that if he has money, we can overlook everything else. Let me just say this as a joke, which is a bad joke. Hata kama hana sura, pesa iko sawa. In the wallet, mwanaume si handsome, mwanaume ni money sam. We have money, we're good. Let's work on the fact.
Sura ya Kenyatta kwa.
So, and we have, as women, we have stooped too low. Let me be very honest. We have let these men continue taking charge of our lives with the money. A man marries you because he has money. So let me ask you, if I'm buying you, because this is not marrying you, if I'm buying you with my money, Willis, if I buy this phone, it's mine, right? What can't I do with it? Including bang it on the floor. You get, it's mine.
You'll break it and buy another one.
And thank you. So I'm a man with a lot of money. Society has empowered me. It has made me a king. It has glorified my money. So what can't I do with my money? I will marry one woman. I will buy her the entire world and then ask her, what don't you have in that house? What don't you have? That question, every woman who's married to a man with money knows it. What don't you have? So you have everything. I'll take another one. I'll keep her and I'll let my wife know. Do you know why I let her know? Because I have the money. And you can always leave. Umechoka enda. My money can buy me as many women. And us as women, do you know what we say? Akona pesa anaweza tuweka si wote. So we're the ones who agree to settle for it. And then later, unapata wanawake wanaandika in this our social media, men, they are not faithful because we let them not be faithful. If you all put your foot down and say, I will not become a mpango wa kando, but really, which woman is not going to say that? I mean, unaweka, unabaiwa gari. See, money gives you a leeway to everything. And I mean everything, Willis, everything. And that's sad because we empower it. If women were shikana, I remember once when we were voting, people said, if women would just shikana and do one thing together for once, we would have a better country. But 50% to the shikana, 50% will be texting the men like, wachana now 50, as we got you back. So it's very hard. Yeah. It's quite hard, yeah.
So money is the root of all evil.
Oh, it is.
Or the love of money. The love of money. You have to clarify, the love of money.
Yes.
You see, when there is internal emptiness, there's going to be a lot of external pursuit. And that's why now men will define themselves by what they do and what they have and impress each other with that. There are a lot of men who are not happy, Willis. They've got the money. They've got the status. They're not happy. We once talked here about the book I wrote on leprous generals,
yes,
where you look successful on the outside, but you're struggling with a lot of things internally. Low self-esteem, insecurities, emptiness. Somebody goes back home and he wonders, I thought if I made the money, I would be happy. Yeah. I'd be fine. Yeah. Then he has made the money and he still finds that it has not filled that void. So he begins to look for other ways to fill that void. For some people, they will turn to alcohol. For some people, they will turn into drugs. For some people, they think it's a woman, then they get this woman, then they get bored because what they're looking for, they're trying to find something on the outside which they don't have on the inside. So they get this woman, then they feel like, okay, she's not giving me that satisfaction. So he goes to the next woman, then he thinks, maybe if I have more of them. And it's an internal fight sometimes. It's an internal fight this man has. The worst thing is that most people look from the outside and they think, but he's doing well. Because, as Anita said, you know, the definition of success is so warped up. It's so crazy. So I'm thinking, but he's doing so well. He seems to have everything all together. You know, posting his house on social media, he looks like he's got a mansion, driving the finest cars, but never knowing that some of these people are dealing with depression. There's something that somebody said that for most young men, they are either enraged or they have been informed by it. And part of that again goes back into the place where you're looking for validation from a young age, you're not getting it, you're a bit angry, you feel like you've been forsaken, you feel like you've been left out. I know a young man who the parents were in the US and the boy refused to join them. And he was in a rehab. He preferred to stay in a rehab for so long. He was angry. He was angry with the parents. And so he was just so deformed over here. And he decided he would rather stay in a rehab than join the parents in the US. He's angry. Some of the behavior that then we see boys, you know, displaying later, they may not even know that they have rage towards people not having been there in their lives, especially when they were making the changes, they were making their transitions, they were taking the turns, and nobody was there to guide them. Nobody was listening to them. They did not feel valued, because you see, validation is a sense of value. If I don't validate you, it means that I don't value you. I'm not, you know, I'm not thinking that you're somebody who is significant enough. I'm not paying attention. Most boys who grow up, even with their fathers, we talk about the absentee fathers who are not around. The boys who grow up with their fathers may not even have conversations with their father in the house. They may be all over there, and then they talk very little of conversation going on face to face, where people are sitting. So the father will be reading a newspaper working on his laptop, and then the children, the boys, will be playing either with toys or watching TV or on their computer also. So this person never really gets that sense of validation. Then the thing is that when they begin to make mistakes, we come hard on them. There are a lot of people also who just defined by rage. They go out there, they're angry, they don't know how to deal with that anger. We taught them never to be emotional. We taught them never to show any weakness emotionally, so they don't know how to seek help. They're growing up. It's going to show up somewhere else. It will show up in a habit somewhere. It's thought to be very manly that, you know, we went out over there and we did something crazy. Oh man, last night we were arrested, you know. So that's we think that's really cool.
Trading stories, yeah.
Yeah, we think that was really cool. Oh man, we hit the car. Man, we drank till we couldn't. See how boys define themselves. Because we don't have that inner validation, our identity. So we don't know purpose. We don't know who we are. We don't know what we're supposed to do. So we think for us to bring out our identity, we need to do something that is crazy in order to stand out. So I think that there is the need to begin to show young men different role models. We need to start showing them people who may not be wealthy, but people who have impacted people. We grew up hearing of stories, people like the Mahatma Gandhis, and then you listen to the Nelson Mandelas, and you listen to the Martin Luther Kings, and none of these people were remembered for their wealth. Instead, it is impact. We may need to begin showing that community service is heroism. There's somebody who goes out over there to help the community, somebody who goes out there helping the single mother, somebody who goes out and cuts the grass is a hero. That's manhood. Somebody who will is a son to a single mother, but he helps pay the bills for his mother and take care of his siblings. That's a hero right there. We need to begin redefining who the heroes are.
The heroes are. All right, we have some tweets and SMSs. Let's take a look at them. A good man will want you to be comfortable and confident in your relationship. The very cornerstone of this is being able to trust someone, and he will realize that without trust, there is no foundation for love or respect. That is Ricky Chulai. Andy Juarez says, on the flip side, the boy child is suffering these days. One person coined the name boy child, and guys decided to turn it into a meme that men are not supposed to show suffering. And he also says, women also judge men for not being men when they don't have money or provide. They don't have the body shape that is not desirable. The Ngosi says, there are a lot of men out there, but very few fathers. And Naomi Ngosi says, I think men feel weird when talking to other men, like to sit down, we talk. I think most boys learn from men by just watching other men. All right, there are some other SMSs coming through, but even as he loads them, oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. Carol from Umo. Men love you when you don't have responsibilities. Taking care of kids makes men draw away from women. All right, there's that one, and there are some others here. Somebody says, Daniel Njenga from Rongai says, being a man is a matter of self-identification, knowing your potential, your influence, and how much you can offer to the community. Self-confidence makes this happen. Roy from Nakuru says, please clarify the role of a parent in a child's life. This plays a vital role in the voices they get to acknowledge and their approach to different situations. And there's somebody here who says she's 23. I am 23. I have a baby boy. I am a single mother. The father refused this boy while I was pregnant, and I'm afraid my son will lack a foundation. What do I do? I guess let's begin with the lady who's 23 is asking. So for a situation like that, what do you think they should do, Anita?
A father figure doesn't have to be a father, or a role model doesn't need to be a father, sadly. And that's where we go wrong. Just because you don't have a husband or a boyfriend doesn't mean your kids do not get a father figure. That's wrong, because a father figure should be a man who impacts your kids like a father, and that's where we go wrong all the time. That's why you have godfathers to your kids. Do we even have godfathers anymore, Willis? And do people even know what's the role of a godfather in your kid's life? A godfather should be someone in your life who's going to be permanent. Not a boyfriend or a spouse, permanent. That means for life, whether you're there or not, that kid has a father. And let's not even talk about raising a boy only, even a girl. If you're raising a kid and you're a single mom, you have to have male presence in their life. Because at the end of the day, and that's where we go wrong as women, we can never be men. And we go wrong all the time. We can make more money, we can do everything, we can be more empowered, we can be everything, but we cannot, and we will never be men. Now, once you agree on that, now look for a man in your life. It can be a brother, it can be a cousin, it can be your uncle, it can be a man who you know is responsible enough, who's going to impact the kid positively, and someone who will be there regardless of your issues. If it's my brother, ata tukosane aje, even if we're fighting, my brother is going to be there for my kid. Our fighting has nothing to do with the kid. If it's my dad is always going to be the grandpa to this kid no matter what happens. So you have to look for men other than the men you're dating. And kwanza single mothers, let me just touch on this as we go on. Don't introduce your kids to the multiple partners you have. Ati, oh, this month ni Uncle Johnny, next month ni Uncle Mike. Yo, what's going on? Your kids, you forget when you break up with this man, your kids are breaking up with the same man. So if in a year you've broken up with 6 men, how many breaks up? You mean your 6-year-old has had 6 breakups at 6 years old? Because she got attached to Johnny, Johnny took her out, they bonded, then one morning there's Mike. And you don't explain. You feel like as a parent you don't owe your kid an explanation, right? So you're already breaking that kid before you can even make them. And the foundation of kids is 1 to 5 years, I think, for boys around 6 years. So at the end of the day, you've broken that boy. Kwanza for a boy and the mom, if your son sees you with different men, he's really going to have a lot of issues. So at the end of the day, look for a man who's constant. Your family member or your close friend, someone who won't go and won't leave. That's the person to influence your kid, and let them have a relationship that is away from you. Let them hang out. He's 3 years old. Akuje mchukue. Waende, they have their own bond. So even when your son can't talk to you, your daughter can't talk to you, they'll talk to their godparent. We need godparents who are responsible, not your godparent, the one you meet at the club, or your godparent, the one you bet with, or no, someone who's actually serious and stable in your life. Not someone. I always tell people, if you got off a counter of the bar, do you know that person after that? You don't even know where they live, by the way. Let's be honest. You only meet in the same place. Look for a constant, responsible person who will not bail on your kids.
So when you pale kwa bar, haya.
To limit last week we are BFFs. You're gonna be the godparent. No. It's long term. It's for life.
Yeah.
It is for life. Yeah.
Looking at some of those SMSs as well, CJ, is that look at the way people are, are talking about men. They've talked about money. They say men will. Another said men only love you when there are no responsibilities. Immediately a baby comes, anaenda. So it seems like most of the definitions of a man is pegged on responsibility and being able
their performance. It's pegged on their performance, and we have not taught men the importance of their presence. So when they can't perform, they feel they don't need to be present. Their performance, is he providing, is he paying the bills, is he doing that? So he has to do something. So they also have defined themselves by their performance, and that's why they're very competitive. And that's why, again, it becomes so easy for men to get depressed, because if his business is not working, if things are not going the way they thought, then they begin to feel that they're less of a man. Sometimes they want to leave home, not even thinking about, but they've got children there who need their presence. Those children may not even be thinking too much about their father needs to make too much money. They just want their father around. My wife traveled, so I'm alone with my boys now. And when they heard that their mother was traveling, they just asked, is daddy going to be home? Now, sometimes they're not looking for any goodies. They're not asking for anything. They just want to know, are you present? And sometimes men underestimate the importance of their presence, of just your child waking up, your wife seeing you there, even as you're trying to work out on your things of your performance. So we need to go past being defined by performance. Some of the best fathers may not have too much money, but they have taught their children self-esteem. They have put in them security. They've taught them to be confident. They have taught them to face the world. They have raised up and trained children who can live even when their parents die. They have taught them certain kind of things. They've taught them integrity. They've instilled in them character. They have given to the world people that you would never have found anywhere, something that school probably could not have done. But nobody will celebrate those, Then on the other hand, you've got fathers who've given their children everything. But then those children are crackheads. They've gone into all kinds of bad behavior because money cannot instill values. And toys can't instill values. Values are instilled man to man. It's got to be man to man. In the older days, you see people who'd sit around probably in the evening and they have a lot of talk. The older to the younger. There was a sense of mentorship, which is lacking today. There's no mentorship. There's no passing on of wisdom and knowledge. There's no passing on of understanding and insight. How many times do people sit down, the older men and the younger men, and they're not discussing football, and they're not discussing women, and they're not discussing cars, they're talking about life? How many times do they do that? Men are very uncomfortable being vulnerable with other men. So we would rather talk about men, we beat you guys. Let's stay right there. So men discuss power stuff, politics. They will talk about politics, they'll talk about business, they'll talk about sports. We talk about things that don't involve us directly because we're afraid to be vulnerable. But I think that men must understand that their presence is as important as their performance.
What about, Anita, you said something, and somebody has also said, that on the flip side, also women will only, love men who
But that's what I said, Willis, and that's true. And it's true, it's bad. We love pretending. We'll be like, oh, I don't want to, I want a man for who he is real. Like women really, and you see that's where people get pissed when they say the truth. Because it's not the truth. You're saying that, but your soul is like, I am not dating a broke man. Lord, I am not walking to work alone and with a man. We will not work together. But you see, nobody wants to do that with any man. And do you know why? Sometimes, let me look at these two ways. Some women have bad experiences of coming from scratch with a man. When he makes the money, he feels he's money enough to get other women. But on the same flip side, some men are humbled by money. But we keep saying, sadly, money does not change people. It brings out the characteristics that were jailed by poverty, So, you see, at the end of the day, you need to know you...
It brings out the characteristics that was jailed by
poverty.
Okay.
They were there. Women, we are very, very materialistic. And I'm saying this, I know, on national TV, and Lord, I know women will kill me, but it's true. Women want things, and our generation of women is even worse. We demand. Not even wanting, we demand. So, a woman is going to tell you, hi, Willis, we're dating for 6 months. You're not going to waste my time. You need to propose. This is a ring I want. She's going to send you a picture. This is my kind of wedding, so I really need you to get money. This woman is not going to ask why you're getting money. If you come with a lot of money one day and maybe you stole it, she won't ask. She'll be okay with it because she does not care much about you as much as appearances. For her, it's not about what you do as a man to get the money. For her, her definition of a man is money. That's it. So women are too materialistic, and until our women understand that money is not a measure of happiness, this will never change. But women think that a man having money is going to make you happy. That's why you see these very rich women who are looking for Bentens, and you're like, if I had your money, I would be happy. But no, they have the money, but they can never ever be happy, and that's the problem. But when you tell women this, you need to find a man who loves you for you, a man who might respect you for you, a man who is not very rich. Women will not want that. They want a ready-made man, a man who has a car. Because our generation, you want a 25-year-old man who has a car, who has land, who has built a house.
With a swimming pool.
With a swimming pool and a jacuzzi.
Jacuzzi.
What? And no offense, you look back maybe at your background, your parents are still struggling, but you want a ready-made man. So does that strike a balance? You know, and we have to be very fair as women. Where do you expect to get these men from? You're pushing this man to stealing, you're pushing this man to corruption, you're pushing this man to bad lands, and that's why a man is going to snap at you. Like, I am doing all this. Willis, every day we have a new case of murder. Every day. Because this man is working so hard to please a woman who never gets enough. And you're a human being. So I'm out here trying to show the boys I've made it. I haven't. I'm faking it. I come home to a woman who's screaming, oh, simu yangu, I want a Samsung Edge, I want an iPhone, it's swag, oh, I saw these heels. She says she doesn't want mediocre. This man is under pressure from society. You're asking him to be a man, and you're reminding him that a man is money. And he comes home to a wife who's nagging and wants money. He's human. What do you want him to do, and you don't want him to cry? That man is going to snap, and that things just go south. They don't come back. But no, we'll be like, apana, Anita, unatetea wanaume. No, leave the men alone. I keep telling him, don't even marry when you're below 30. Let this woman stay at the father's house till the dad is done raising her. Then she can come and you can marry her. Stop giving pressure to our kids, you know. I'm serious.
Well, Welly Odendo, karibu sana. Tuliambiwa tusi measure men by the teams they support. Because it can tell some character. But karibu sana, karibu sana. We're talking about boys to men is the number people have been, as is the custom, wanafungua roho, and maybe picking up from what Anita said. I saw you nodding, and so you agree? You agree with that?
I agree with her very much. That. There's always this illusion that a man must have it all. And it is an illusion that has been created, I don't know from where, but wherever it is coming from, it puts men under undue pressure to create a reality that they cannot be able to live up to. Because what has, like I always ask, can you tell me what is a man? They'll tell me a man is a provider, a man is a priest. But where do you get, those are roles. Those are not beings, those are roles, yeah? What I know is that a man is an order. He's not, all these roles, he does them from an order. And that's why it is as a man thinks. So the most important quality a man must have is how he thinks. And thinking is how you order and sequence goals, people, priorities in your life. It's a sequencing of things. So for me, that is what even men should be striving for. How should I order my life so that I can be able to achieve goals within the time that I have? Now, I'll have to be a priest at some point, I'll have to be a provider at some point, I'll have to be a protector at some point, but I should not be obsessed with being all this provider, protector, and all these things, but I've not yet first found the center of manhood, which is how he thinks.
Yes, we're going to take a few SMSs, I guess. Let's take a look at some of those SMSs that are coming in. Right. Wewe. Nice Naya. And there are some things that we are not taught in school. We get to learn them the hard way. Marriage, family values, etc. Our men cheat and claim because they provide. Do you marry to feed a woman? Was I lacking food before? How about the kids? Don't they deserve a father, and not just finances, but love and affection? Very pertinent questions there by Nice Anonymous. You didn't leave your name. You say, as a man, we have ignored the Bible teachings and resorted to changes which do not get blessings from God. We need God in our lives. R. John says, lack of fatherhood is the root of this crazy behavior of men wearing earrings and nose piercings. It has something to do with the foundation and who raised you and how. Lee, tunakusikia. Hi Willis, what a wonderful topic. The other day we were discussing the same in a women's fellowship. Let there be a father figure to have good generations. We have uncles. If dad is not there, let them do that job. What about a man who cannot control his temper? Gabriel Mwingi, sincerely, most of young men lack foundation from their backgrounds, therefore being waved by pleasures, and due to this, they tend to strive to get some money to upgrade their identity. Daniel Njenga from Ragai, being a man is a matter of self-identification, knowing your potential, your influence, and how much you can offer to the community. Self-confidence makes this happen. Please clarify the role of a parent. I think you addressed this, Roy from Nakuru. In a child's life, he plays a vital role in the voices they get to acknowledge. And then Victor says, a chick that will grow into a cock will be known the first day it will hatch. Let's train the young kids from childhood to be men. And it is hard to train a boy to be a man if he doesn't have a good physical example to see. So talk about how they learn from observation as well. But look at the things that they talked about. Let's touch about that one. That I see that it is Nii foundation band or sasa wanaume wanavaa earrings or nose piercing. What do you think about that, CJ?
As I said again, you know, we grow towards things that we think look heroic to us. And when there is no model, when there is no image to conform to, then we will find one somewhere else. For most part, most of our young men, they find their models on what they see elsewhere. They'll read about that, they'll watch it, they'll find it on YouTube, they'll find people who are in the limelight. So when somebody does it somewhere else, it looks good, and especially if the person looks powerful, then it becomes something that is very easy, because they think, if I dress like Willis, I am going to feel the power that Willis has. So if I see a powerful person in dreadlocks, I admire everything about him. It's very impressionable. They don't know how to differentiate between what the person does and how the person looks. So if I see a rich person or a powerful person or somebody I'm looking up to, you know, putting on the suits like Welly today, tomorrow, I mean, you'll just see that. You'll start seeing the young man doing that.
Yeah.
You'll start seeing him doing that, because that gives him a sense of feeling like he is Welly. You know, that's what it is. So you'll see.
But in reality, being Welly was a process.
It's a process.
Yeah.
That's why you see, you know, you don't hear girls having too many nicknames, but boys do, because they're looking for an identity.
Champe.
So even just with things like football, you know, so I am Willis Rashford Kaburu,
Thank you very much,
that, from a very young age.
How did you know?
Because we're looking at people that we feel are heroes, then we want to become them. So this is a matter of who has this person been exposed to? Whom has he seen doing certain things? Who has shaped his mentality of who a hero is? That's why it must start at home. And I talked about the presence of the man, that it's not just the provision, it's even the presence. That this presence will shape the identity of this boy. Your presence is as important, if not more important, than what you're providing, because then somebody has somebody to look up to, and then they begin to shape their life towards that. So when it is absent, anybody that they will see that they think is making it and is powerful, there's a way how somehow money validates people. You know, if somebody seems to have money, so they're always right. And so the boys are going to get shaped in that. Yeah.
I have a few comments here as I move to Anita, because some of them watu wamemtaja. Say, today I'm moved by Madam Ray that a woman can never be a man and I really respect women who know their place in the home. That's Pascal Katambo from Taita Taveta County. And then somebody also says, Daybreak, I am a single mom of a boy 3 years old. My son, like Anita said, has a habit of calling everyone dad, yet I have never even introduced him to any man. So this makes me feel embarrassed because it's been just the two of us. That's Rahab. Anita, how can you advise Rahab, or depending on the school you went to, Rahab?
But you see, for her, like, she needs, you see the problem with us, we don't explain to our kids anything. And that's the problem, is I think it goes back to the parents who raised us. They never felt the need to explain anything. I'm the parent, so I don't have to tell you anything. But you see, things have changed. And I always crack a joke and tell people, if you don't teach your kid, the internet will. If you don't tell them,
today
the
happens
internet
to be
will.
Safer Internet Day. Yes, it was live with Sam Gituku. Asanteni sana. Yes.
So it's quite when a kid is 2 years old, anashika vitu, that's when anaita kila mtu dad, because chances are anaenda play school. So they had in play school people saying, I have a dad, where's your dad? So the kid is like, no, who's my dad? No, I don't have a dad. So everybody can be my dad. They don't know. They actually don't know. You have to, a 3-year-old is a child who can understand. Sit them down and tell them, you can't call everybody daddy. You can't tell them why, because they won't understand yet, but you have to tell them, you can't call everybody daddy. You can't. And you have to explain to your kid. And as at the end of the day, does Rahab have a godfather for the child? Kuna godfather, unajua, if there's a godfather,
Or a father figure.
Or a father figure, yeah, true. Or a father figure.
Is relative.
So, does she have one? Unajua, akona yeye. Because kama hakuna mwanaume anaingia kwa hiyo nyumba, that boy does not know a man at all, at all. So introduce. There are things as a woman, if I tell my son even for 10 years, he will never feel. But when he hears them from you just once, and he'll be like, I've been saying this for 10 good years, but I'm a woman. And that's what even as mothers we forget. To your son, you're a mother, but second, you're a what?
A woman.
You're a woman. They need to see a man. Oh, I'm a single mother, I can do it all. Oh, I am the man of the house place. You're not a man. Get a father figure or a good father. Let there be a man in that house. Yes.
And it's like, let there be light, let there be light. And there was. There's something CJ talked about, provision, and I see that a lot even in the SMSs here. People are talking about how, in fact, somebody said, please air this program again in the evening when men are free to watch. Somebody says here, though, another one who says she's 22. I have a baby boy, and after kupata mtoto akaniacha. Then the other one says that these men really admire you just because of sex. After that, they don't even care about the pregnancy. So again, those are like 3 or 4 semesters that we've seen, or people talking about men who, you know, fled responsibility or left. I don't know if forgive me if the English is a bit here and there, but who ran away from, you know, their responsibilities. What would you say to that? Because again, it comes back to that element of what we're talking about today, boys to men, where, you know, obviously it was not, like they said, pregnancy is not a one-man job. And I'm saying that with pun intended. It's not a one-man job. So look at that situation, because there is also increasing, we can't, just like Anita said, you see, we can't run away from the fact that there are more single mothers today than there was, say, 10 years ago. Or either that, or maybe they become more vocal, but they are there, so we can't escape that. So what do you think what is the problem there?
Whenever a man runs away from responsibility, it doesn't mean he does not love the particular responsibility, but it just means he doesn't feel equipped to be able to take the full weight of the responsibility at hand. Many people need to understand that men are naturally afraid. They are mentored to learn how to operate in that fearful environment, because they say the man is the last line of defense and the first line of offense. So if something happens and a woman is scared, they will run to the man. And this man, equally scared, does not know where to take that fear. And because, and I'll repeat this, the world has created everything, but it has not yet come with a way of creating a pill, a soap that we can apply that we don't feel fear. And so people who are given the line and the quality of responsibility is the men. So when a man is running away from responsibility, it has more to do with the fear that naturally attaches itself to the man. And that fear makes him feel like, because when a man is afraid, he hides and he runs. And most of us men, and that's why if you walk into a room and ask everybody, if you are all just strangers and there's a lady here, the most confident person will start the conversation. But women will naturally be conversational. They either come with a package that is quick to express themselves and quick to define themselves and quick to take charge. But men, the role, and I'll agree with Pastor Chris, many people think the role of mentorship is to first of all teach you accountability. That's not the first role. The first role of mentorship is to teach and structure your attitude. Accountability is a fruit of attitude. It's not the first function of a man. If a man lacks attitude, he lacks fortitude. So if he gets a kid, he will run. If he fails school, he will run. If he feels like he has been told, come see the boss, he will run. Our first instinct as men is flight. And not that because we are bad people, but it's our first instinct. We don't know what to do. A lady may want to run, but you have to be present to give birth. But a man will feel, while there is still no baby here, the first response will be flight. So we have to know that men are scared, and if the men who are watching us, you have to be secure and safe with your fears, and find a circle where you can speak your fears out. Most of us men feel inadequate. We feel our women, they're not satisfied in bed, they're not satisfied with our money, they're not satisfied. And so we are walking in an unsatisfied world, and they're trying to meet that deficit. So I would tell that lady, the man is not running from responsibility. Chances are he feels not well equipped to handle it. I don't know how Dr. Chris there.
Yes, Dr. Chris will come. And so there's so many other SMSs coming through. I'll ask that at least to ziangalie, but that's in a short while. First, let's hear CJ.
I don't know why he had to bring that up. But I think I've said this before, just in line with what Welly has said, that men run when they can't face it. Not because they don't love, but they can't face it. So sometimes he doesn't know how to face his family.
But but isn't it then the flip side to that, isn't it said that when you're running away because you can't face it, what's the thing they'll tell you? They'll tell you, be a man. And go and face it.
You see that thing of be a man, and Anita started very well when she said people are told be a man, but most of them cannot define what that being a man is. So it ends up being pressure instead of motivation. Because you're trying to define this thing, and then you're told to become something that nobody's defining, and so you feel the internal pressure. Because sometimes, even when you're doing everything wrong, you're actually trying to be a man. And when you don't hear that you're doing well, that's why I talked about the element of the fatherhood, where there is the validation that is coming in. So if I am trying everything and nobody is telling me that you're on the right track, I'm like punching in the dark. And somewhere you get tired. You don't know what to do. You can't fight an enemy that you cannot define. So where do you punch? How do you even know you're winning against the enemy? So eventually you'll give up the fight, you know, because you cannot assess your progress. And that's where now when they don't know whether they're making any progress, they quit. This is what is happening to a lot of men, that they will quit because they don't know whether they're making any progress. Sometimes then they have people in their lives, and I wouldn't want to blame women because they're amazing people, but sometimes they're standing by the sideline and the man feels, I've given everything, and the woman feels, you haven't even started.
You haven't started. What do you mean?
So the man is absolutely confused. And so he doesn't hear that from his woman that he is trying. He doesn't hear that he is on the right track. And the only time that she will come in probably is to criticize a decision or something. So this man begins to feel cracked because he thinks, my father wasn't even there to validate me. In school, everybody thought I wasn't doing very well, or maybe I was or something. And so here I am. again facing criticism in this place, and they begin to feel like, I'm not good enough. And the moment a man feels irrelevant, he departs. When he feels that he is not needed, he just leaves. And sometimes he will not just leave the space. That's where suicide rates are also very high. Because when he doesn't feel functional, he feels useless. And so he doesn't have that identity. So we've got to go back into the place where we bring an identity into the man above and beyond just his performances. We need to celebrate that a man is home, sitting there with his children, just sitting with them. Women need to start celebrating those kind of men. That you know, you're a good father. You're
and then people say amen.
Say amen.
And you see, Willis, I would love to add on that because I may forget it. I need, when you read the messages, it's 2019, 2019, 2019.
23 years.
23, if you go, sana, a 25-year-old, by the time they get pregnant, they want it. They're looking for it, chances are. But these ones are just, we have this generation, and you guys will agree with me, of between 17, 18 to 24, 23, who meet in campus, fall in love, they think it's love. I'm quoting it because they think it's love. Then thinking they have a baby and get married, they are the Instagram family, this forever, ever after. They don't know themselves. They don't know what marriage is. They think marriage is living together and loving each other. And they do not know what having a child means. So they think if they have the child, akiwasumbua watapelekea madhe. That's the generation we have. That's why you're hearing them saying, I got pregnant, he bailed. He's a child. He was not ready for a child. He wasn't. So the dem to Lilia Skutatu, he was like, nah. This is your journey. I'm gonna love you. You become sis, this is your journey. I'm gonna love you. And that's a big problem because, as you were saying, then we move now to the 25 and above who are getting married. Instead of getting advice from older people or from the church or from our parents, we advise each other on social media, on Instagram. So I'm going to post on Facebook, my boyfriend last night did this and this. You can imagine the advice I get, right? That's the advice you're going to take home. So when your husband comes and you won't have cooked, you'll ask him, kwani kwenye umetoka wana kitchen ama they don't cook. Your boys, when they were watching football, when they were watching it was a church, they don't have a kitchen. I've seen these replies and I laugh sometimes. Women, you need to understand one thing. A man is looking for peace because a home should be his sanctuary. Even as a single person, your home is your sanctuary, right? So when you come home, what are you looking for as a person without even a partner? You want the quiet, you want the peace, and you want... That's home. That's home. Now, be in this man's shoes as a woman. He comes home, he's from fighting the entire world that is asking him to man up, the world that is asking him to be a better man, the world that will never see him as good enough, because the world will never see you as good enough, by the way. And then he comes home to the one place that is a sanctuary and should be quiet and calm. You don't even ask him how his day was. You open the doorway, hakuna, you'd be like, the first thing nasikia ni hakuna. Lord, ask me if my day was bad, you know. He's going to enter there. And I'm not asking you to be all washing men and no. I'm just asking you, be a wife. Ask him how his day was. If you're living with a man, check on him. Because when you don't, there's another one on his WhatsApp checking on him, by the way. I'm like, oh, my man is going. He's going because you're not giving him peace at home. Then he'll be like, oh, Wanaume are not faithful. What are they being faithful to? I'm serious. What is a man going to be faithful to if he's not finding peace at home? Women have to be honest. And the problem, Will, is we lie to each other on social media every day. You'll find a woman telling you to insult your husband and how she kneels down when the husband comes home. I'm serious. Women are enemies of each other on a very high level. I will tell you, Kai, your man left you to go watch football. Kwangu hezi niacha. So you're agenda home 3 days. But she doesn't want to suffer alone. She's like, we are suffering together. Don't ever. And I'm saying this on national TV with a very honest intention. Never take advice from your girlfriends about your man. Never. Because if you show them he's a good man, they will ruin it to be there. And that is a very high chance. So never. Go take advice from your pastor. Go take advice from an older lady. By your age mates, nah, pass. Nah.
You know, I'm just thinking about what Anita is saying. Like, women will tell you, I can't date that man. You drop the guy. Your friends are telling, no, that's a no.
He's not a good guy. He drinks that. Lord, I can't date a man who drinks. I
think also, as we say this, is that I think people should understand that to a man, the quality of the environment is more important than the relationship.
True.
If you corrupt the environment, it doesn't matter what definition of the relationship you are, they will bail. Whether it's mother, they will say, "Me, I never go to see my mother." Whether it's wife, they'll stay away from the wife. Whether it's brother, they'll stay away from the brother. Men need an environment. Manhood grows in an environment. And so, as Anita is saying, actually, you should have said engage with Anita because on men, because you should write a book for them. But
Amen.
she's talking about what women nowadays feel it's a lot of work. Why should I? Why should I? And the man will still cheat, and the man will still do this. It's the quality of the environment. And so I think women should take it into their consideration. And we should also take it into consideration that we need the environment to be able to express ourselves and fight our fears, because that's where our biggest gaps are coming in. How ladies perceive men. They think a man should hear, leo namngoja nimwambie, leo namngoja nimwambie. And every time you're telling a man there is not, there is not, there is not, a man is feeling this environment is too needy.
It's toxic.
It's too needy. Then we go where there is abundance. Then they go to another environment and ambata kama last year was bad. Things are bad. Now it's not you are bad. Now it's things are bad. Yeah. So it's just in the phrasing and in the commitment to work on the environment.
There are some here that I guess we'll have to pick up next week, because most people are also talking about some of the things that they're going through. Like this one here says, I'm a mother of one child, 27 years. The father of my child dumped me and married another woman. Now to get another man who will marry me, my child is becoming complicated. They're running away from responsibility to Tadu. There's another one who also says, hi guys, I'm now 19 years old. I've been brought up by a single mom. The thing that made me hate men in general, even as per now, that I'm a second-year student taking clinical office, but I've never thought of having a man because my mom raised me as a single parent. But there's so many of you who are also opening up here. Unfortunately, don't have time. I'll just read some here. Willis, you and Anita should write a book. She's writing a book of life. Then the one that made me laugh, let me see if I can find it here. Yes. It says, hello guys, tell that madam anione nyuma ya tent. Niko na zawadi yake. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take
take the madam to the tent.
Yeah. We're going to take some of these questions here and put them together because of time. I just like to say thank you for everybody for coming, Welly, Anita, and your fan base. And CJ Atemo. And I just like to say this, that there are so many of you who are asking some questions. Some of you are sharing the things that you're going through. I just like to say that, you know, okay, first of all, if kama tunaweza kwa hii kamera, tutashukuru sana. Asante. Right. So now, just want to say, I want to say that some of you that, you know, Dio Muna opening up here, if you can, wait until next Tuesday, we'll be able to address some of this and more, and some of the questions that you've raised here. If you can't, and this is the most advisable thing to do instead of waiting, is to seek help. You can follow CJ Atemo. It is CJATEMO, CJ Atemo, Welly Odendo as well, WELLYODENDO. And Anita Ray, it is ANN ITAH RAEY. But of course, we're going to do a picture, and Citizen TV has also been tweeting with their handles there, so you can go back and follow and see exactly where you can find them. You can reach out to any of them. If you feel you can talk to Anita, I mean, go ahead. Talk to Anita. She talks to a lot of people and helps a lot of people as well. If you feel you can talk to CJ Atemo, go ahead. If you feel you can talk to Welly, go ahead. If you feel you can talk to me, if I can help in any way, go ahead. But if not, seek professional help as well. I'm not saying they're not professionals because they have experience, but seek professional help. If you want to see a therapist, see a therapist. If you want to see a pastor, see a pastor. By all means, get help. And like Anita said, and Sam also said early on, you know, there's importance of not letting your children be trained and learn from the internet things that, you know, you don't even monitor. So even as today is Safer Internet Day, let's also focus more on what your children are watching, what they're exposed to, the access that they have. Like they say, there might not be any firewalls, so why don't you be the firewall, be the guard, sit there with them as they go through those things that they're going through. Right, successful people look like you, and of course the great Manchester United. God loves you, and that will never change. Tuonane hapa hivi next week on Tuesday for Engage, and Sam Gituku is up next.